Hi everyone, my name is Tatiksha Babu, a junior at Broadon High School, and I'm going to be talking about women's safety in AI, and specifically how AI-generated deepfakes target women disproportionately and how there are no clear laws to help survivors. That's because it takes less than 1 hour to make a deepfake. No camera, no consent, no warning for the person whose identity is being used. And once it's online, there's often no real way to stop it from spreading. A video appears. It looks real, it sounds real, and to anyone watching it, it might as well be real. But the person in it never agreed to any of it. This is the reality of AI-generated deepfake pornography. And according to a 2023 report cited by UN Women, 98% of all deepfake videos online are pornographic, and 99% of them target women. And this isn't any side effect of technology, it's its primary use, and it's growing fast. That same data shows that deepfake content has increased by over 550% since 2019. So this isn't any future problem, it's already here. What makes this issue more dangerous isn't just the scale, it's how the law actually responds to it. Right now, if someone becomes a victim of a deepfake, the responsibility to fix the situation falls almost entirely on them. They have to search for the content, report it, prove that it's fake, and then repeat that process sometimes across dozens of platforms, all while the content continues to spread. And by the time it's removed from one place, it's often already been copied, reposted, or altered again and again. So even when the system works, it works too slowly. At the same time, the platforms hosting this content operate under one of the strongest legal protections in modern law. Under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, online platforms are generally not held liable for content posted by their users. This law was designed to support the growth of the internet, to allow platforms to host content without being treated as the speaker of everything posted. In many ways, it succeeded. But in the context of deepfake abuse, it creates a serious imbalance. That's because the person being harmed is responsible for responding to the damage, while the system enabling that harm has no clear legal obligation to prevent it. The burden falls on the individual. The protection stays with the platform, and that's not just a gap in the law, it's a structural failure. To understand why, it's important to recognize what deepfake pornography actually does. It doesn't just create false content. It takes a real person's face, voice, and identity, and it places them into situations they never consented to. It removes control over how someone is seen, understood, and represented. And once that control is gone, the consequences are very real. Victims report harassment, reputational damage, loss of opportunities, and the fear for their safety. And for students, professionals, and public-facing individuals, a single video can follow them indefinitely, impacting school environments, careers, and relationships. And because women are disproportionately targeted, this becomes not just a technological issue, but an issue of equity and power. And this isn't just limited to your celebrities. As these tools become more accessible, the risk becomes more local. In highly connected communities where students and young people are constantly online, the ability to create and share this kind of content is no longer distant or hypothetical, it's immediate. And the systems in place are not designed to keep up. What makes this even more frustrating is that platforms are not powerless. They already use advanced detection systems to identify copyrighted material, extremist content, and coordinated misinformation at scale. They can scan uploads, flag patterns, and limit distribution, so they have the capacity to act quickly when they're required to. But in this case, they're not required to. So action becomes inconsistent, delayed, or reactive. And that delay is where harm grows. So the issue isn't a lack of technology, it's a lack of accountability. A more effective approach would be to establish a targeted duty of care for synthetic sexual content. This would shift the system from reactive to proactive, placing responsibility on platforms to address harm way before it spreads widely. First, platforms would be required to implement reasonable detection systems designed to identify likely deepfake sexual content. Second, there would be a clear expectation for a timely removal once content is flagged, creating consistency instead of leaving survivors to navigate a fragmented system. And third, these responsibilities would be tied directly to platform immunity. Section 230 protections would not disappear, but they would become conditional. Platforms would retain immunity only if they demonstrate good faith efforts to detect and remove this specific category of harm. This approach is both realistic and enforceable. It builds on systems that already exist and aligns with how other areas of law handle predictable harm. Enforcements can follow existing regulatory models, with agencies like the Federal Trade Commission setting standards and issuing penalties for non-compliance. This isn't about over-regulating speech. It's about recognizing that when harm is foreseeable, scalable, and preventable, responsibility cannot remain optional. Because right now, the incentives are misaligned. Speed is rewarded, engagement is prioritized, and harm is treated as something to address later, if at all. A duty of care changes that. It makes prevention part of the system itself. And ultimately, this comes down to one simple question. Who is responsible for protecting your identity? Right now, the answer is unclear, because the person being harmed is expected to fight a system that was never designed to protect them in the first place. And that is not sustainable. Deepfakes don't just distort images, they distort control. They take something deeply personal, your identity, and turn it into something anyone can manipulate. And if the law continues to treat that as just another content issue rather than a violation of autonomy, the gap between harm and protection will only grow. In a world where reality isn't required, protection cannot be optional. It has to be built into the system itself. Thank you.